Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a short little knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Kizer Aegis. Some people say Aegis. You can say whatever you want. The main reason that I wanted to review this knife today is because of this very, very dark. They actually list this as matte. I think it's got a little bit more sheen to it, but it's very shadowy Sanmai VG10 core Damascus. Now, this is an optional blade material. There is, of course, less expensive AEBL and I think either G10 or micarta. They also have aluminum, right? So this does get less expensive, but as it sits, this is $79 for really some of the nicest looking super dark VG10 core Damascus that I've seen, and it'll actually perform fairly well. It'll perform like VG10, so I think it's really cool. Outside of that, it's very, very simple, so this review doesn't really have a lot involved in it, but it's pretty cool for the price tag. So I'm going to link this down in the description. You guys can check it out if you want to. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks to Kizer for sending this in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and make sure your notifications are turned on for the Metal Complex YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this guy. Overall length is coming in at 6.75 inches. Blade length is coming in at about 2.85, and cutting edge is coming in at about 2.75. So it's on the bottom end of what I'd call medium. This is a compact EDC, but not a micro knife. It's on the smaller side, but not what I'd call a small or tiny knife. Let's put it up against a couple of knives for size comparison. So up against some larger knives, AD10 and my own Excalibur. By the way, any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and others. So you can see here that this is definitely dwarfed by these two knives, but these two knives are definitely a lot larger. Let's put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Closer to the size of the Para 3, but still smaller. It is important to point out that the cutting edge between this knife and the Para 3 are actually the same, as is the case with most of the usable ergonomic space. This last little bit back here is where my pinky kind of falls off, so I consider about right here to be ergonomic space. And you can see here all the way up almost to the end of the forward choil, it has very similar ergonomic space, so it looks a lot smaller than it actually is. And then finally, up against the Benchmade grip cylinder, in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. How's the action on this knife? Well, if you've handled a Kizer clutch lock or honestly anything with this crossbar lock, you can probably guess how this operates. It operates just like any other crossbar lock. I think that Kizer has some nice Omega springs in here, so the tension doesn't feel too light. It doesn't feel too floppy or loosey-goosey. It deploys via thumb stud. It's very easy to do the reverse flick, right? Or simply wheel it out like somebody who's not, you know, a fidgety weirdo like me. You can just wheel it out. The action's fine. It runs on bearings. It's good. It's exactly what you'd expect. I have no complaints there. Let's do carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It's honestly just a little bit thinner. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. This is a super compact knife. Very, very easy to carry in pretty much any pants, any setting. It's very, very simple, straightforward, lightweight, compact. Speaking of lightweight, let's weigh it. What are we looking at for materials? We are looking at true VG10 Sanmai Damascus. So it's VG10, I mean, like it's 9CR 10CR. The 10CR being the Chinese equivalent of VG10. That's what makes the core, which you can actually see right there and down here. And then we have the 9CR jacket. This is nice Damascus for this territory, the sub $100 territory. This is nice Damascus. You're not going to get true Damasteel or Damacore or any of that exotic stuff at this price point, but this is the nicest stuff that we have ever had access to at the sub $100 territory, and Kizer does a really good job of it. I really like this. I called it nearly Shadow Damascus, which would be truly like DLC coated Damascus, and that's not what this is, but it really is a nice, it's very like that they've let that acid etching do the work on both compositions here, so it does end up with this nice dark finish without a deep etching into the blade. So that's nice. Let's go ahead and weigh it. Weight comes in at 2.6 ounces, which is really incredible in terms of balance. It's also so lightweight that it's way past the point of what I'd consider ultra lightweight. There's your balance point right there. So in my pocket, I would have to check and make sure every day that I'm making sure and removing my knife from my pants before I wash them. Maybe you don't have to do that, but it's very, very lightweight, so make sure that you check. But good, lightweight, compact, nothing to complain about there. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. We have a T8 pivot and also T8 for the body screws, 2 on each side. And I think we've even got T8 for the pocket clip screws. Yeah, we do. That's awesome. 1 bit for the whole thing. You can put the pocket clip on the other side, by the way. As long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go there. So, yeah, it's always nice. I do have to point out, though, this is a crossbar lock. If you've never taken apart a crossbar lock, it's kind of frustrating the first time. Far from impossible. My suggestion would be tape the blade off before you do it, and make sure you have a place to put all of the hardware so that you don't lose anything. Anyways, let's measure the blade stock thickness here. Blade stock thickness coming in, come on now. Come on, there we go. Very thin. 80 thousandths, very, very thin, nice and slicey behind the edge too. We've done all this. Okay, let's meat and potatoes time. Super straightforward. We've seen a million knives that look like this. The profile of the knife is not what makes it special in this case. And honestly, the standard version of this knife, if you like it, go ahead. But the standard version is basically like the most straightforward, the most like oversaturated knife profile that we have. What makes this particular variation of the knife cool is that super dark, nearly shadow Damascus blade. That's what I like. There is one other element that makes this knife a little bit unique and something that I like, something that we have seen here or there. In the back here, it's got 2 little things tucked away. We have this little, I don't know if I'd use this as a toothpick. I'd use this as like a scraper, getter of stuff out of crevices kind of thing. Not like, yeah, come on. I mean like in your vehicle or whatever, you're trying to dig something out. This is dumb, but I had like this, it was like a pine needle that was stuck on my running board. Like there's a steel inlay, and I had a pine needle like wedged deep inside of there. And I was like, what do I have that I can dig that out there? I ended up using like a utility razor blade to get in between that steel inlay and the whatever the material is for the running board and get it out of there. But that's the kind of thing that I would use this for. You can use it for whatever you want. The other thing, and probably, you know, arguably the more useful thing is the tweezers. And truthfully, even though these are not like the best tweezers in the world, I wish that they came to more of a point at one end. It is always handy to have tweezers for various things, mainly splinters. Here I end up, you know, especially like towards the end of summer, there are just burrs everywhere. Like they're just stuck to everything. And instead, I'm always like, I'm in a hurry. I'm going to pick them out with my hands, right? And it sucks because then they get stuck to your hands and all that. It's nice to have the tweezers to pull them out, or the little tiny splinters that they leave behind. So I think that's pretty nice. And yeah, those do stick in there really well. So you can get them out, but there's not really any major likeliness of them falling out on their own. So I think that is a pretty cool little thing there. Like I said, the pocket clip can be mounted for left or right hand carry, as it should be, because this is an ambidextrous locking system, so that's nice. We have jimping in the spot that you would expect, and it's pretty functional. We also have jimping up here, which I like. The fit and finish on this is great because it's a Kizer product, and Kizer knows what they're doing. They have made countless knives just like this, and at this point, it would be ridiculous for anything that they make to not be essentially perfect. Like, that's just where we are. Peel ply texture G10 on this variation of it. There's also versions with micarta and versions with aluminum, so that you can kind of just pick whatever you want. The scales are slightly shadow boxed by the steel liners underneath, which is nice and might show through better on certain variations, like the micarta variation with the steel liner. Probably get a little outline of chrome around there. This one's completely blacked out. I think it looks pretty good. Just the two, this is kind of an awkward area. We've got 2 screws, then we have 2 screws for the pocket clip, and then we have the lanyard hole. So it's kind of busy. I kind of wish that they would have just forgotten the lanyard hole, because who cares, right? You can also attach a lanyard to the pocket clip. I kind of wish that they had made the 2 screws that are holding on the liner, just make them the pocket clip screws, because if we had removed these and then these 2 screws were responsible for the liner staying attached to the scale, I think everything is rigid enough that would work just fine. I don't know why we had to do this, but we did, so whatever. We have 3, for some reason, standoffs back here. One of them is just floating, so that's interesting. I feel like they could probably all, like these 2 could be floating right here, and you don't need the screws, right? Because they're just responsible for keeping it spaced perfectly apart. Those could just sort of press fit in slightly. You don't want them too tight. And then you have the 2 screws for the pocket clip that go into the liner. That probably aesthetically would be better. And I think 3 standoffs is absolutely Unnecessary. There's no reason. I think that doesn't the Chris Reeve Sabenza just use one? I mean, these are a lot smaller. So anyways, not that big of a deal, right? Shouldn't be a deal breaker. Pocket clip, it's fine. It has kind of an extended bill, but no big deal. Probably could have been slightly deeper, but it's deep enough. I mean, that's all that's going to be showing. The stop pan is located right here, and there is a fair bit of shouldering, so that's nice. No blade play, up, down, left, or right, no lock stick. No pivot lash, very smooth in here. Down into the close position, nice little snap. And then your blade centering is it slightly to the left? No, it's dead on. This is a good knife. Base version is a little bit overpriced. I think the absolute base version is like $60, and it's just AEBL, but it's okay. The coolest version of this knife is this version at $79, which I think is very, very cool. Some people will consider that too expensive. A lot of people will consider that a deal, considering we don't really have an enormous amount of Damascus. It looks just like this. We have some darker edge stuff, sure, but exactly like this glossy black, it just looks cool, right? So I think it's a good knife, recommendable in this variation at least, and it's okay in the standard version. But that's going to be it today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching. That was a short outro, wasn't it? Let's do that again. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure and follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. There we go. That's my brain would have hurt if I'd have let it go the other way. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.